Yeah, because...
Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Talk Back Routines. I am your host, Bernard Rodgers, and my co-host for today is...
I'm Olivia Harrison.
Today we have a woman from the Gay Alliance here to talk with us, Dawn, and we're going to go to Olivia to give us a brief overview of what the Gay Alliance is.
Since their inception in the 1970s, the Gay Alliance has been dedicated to cultivating a healthy and inclusive environment for all students and people of all sexual orientations. Located on East Main Street, the Gay Alliance of the Genesee Valley serves as a safe haven to many teens in the Rochester community. With us today, we have Dawn, who's an intern with the Gay Alliance Center with the youth. Thanks for being with us today, Dawn.
Of course.
So to begin, Dawn, for our viewers out there who don't know, briefly tell us what LGBTQ stands for.
Okay. L is for lesbian, G is for gay, B is for bisexual, T is for transgender, and Q is for queer.
Okay, and from our talk earlier, Q isn't always included in that collection of letters.
It's a more recent addition to the acronym, but it's gaining more popularity and being used far more frequently than it was in the past.
Okay, and I know a few of us, even us, we didn't really know what queer was, so could you briefly explain to us what that is?
It's really a sort of a broad term for people who really don't want to identify one way or another. And they don't want to be labeled as bisexual or lesbian or gay or transgender. They're queer, and to them, that's their way to identify.
Okay. So within the Gay Alliance Association or organization, what is your position?
I am the youth intern. I'm working with ages 13 to 20 with our youth program. We have every Friday night, we have a youth night, which we just came up with a name. They voted on it, and it's called the GAGV Youth Fabulous Fridays.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah. And a lot of it is, just chilling, hanging out. Last Friday we watched a Halloween-themed movie, and this Friday is our Halloween dance, and we are having it at the Open Arms MCC at 707 East Main Street, and that's where we are every Friday.
Okay, that sounds fun.
What kind of things do you do with your students there?
A lot of just hanging out, talking, playing games, doing crafts. We're also planning on some programming, educational program, having a sex chat about healthy sexual behaviors. And we also plan on doing things on healthy relationships, drug and alcohol abuse, teaching them how to apply for college or apply for jobs, just basic life skills that sometimes you don't always get in school.
Okay.
Nice.
So it sounds like a big component of this organization is education, whether
Yes.
it's directly associated to, the LGBT community or within, other aspects of just living and growing up and things that you should learn.
Yeah, because for a lot of these teens, being LGBT is not the highest thing on their priority list. A lot of them are struggling day to day with, grades or trying to figure out if they can afford college or if they're not going to, what are they going to do when they're done with school if they don't go to college? So, I don't want them to think that this, we're just there to focus on that. They have needs beyond that. They're just like any other teenager. They need these services so they can become fully realized adults.
Who else do you serve at this at the center? Is it just LGBTQ students or other students, allies?
Yep, a lot of time they'll bring their ally friends with them. And for viewers who don't know, an ally is generally somebody who identifies as straight and who supports the LGBT community and helps them by advocating or just being there as a friend.
Okay.
How did you get involved with working with this?
Well, I'm working on my Master of Social Work right now through Boston University, and I was looking for an internship. And my advisor, Dr. Kevin Coffey, is associated with the Gay Alliance, and he got me set up with them. And I'd wanted to work with adolescents, so that's where this was kind of the perfect fit for me.
Great.
So through your line of work, you work with a vast amount of students. How do you feel that this organization is helping them cope with some of the things that may be construed to them within society, or just handling the regular challenges that teenagers do face today?
Well, I mean, first we normalize it. We make sure that, they understand. We let them know that this is very normal. They're not different, they're not weird, they're normal. So, and we also help them, we're very confidential. So if they're not out, we're very careful about that. But, there's times where, if they're working on the process of coming out, we can help them, by either doing role playing or talking about the pros and cons of coming out. Just being there to just talk with them about these issues. And then it's just general stuff. I mean, a lot of times the kids, they just talk, they're not really, a lot of them really are comfortable with who they are because our society has changed so much, thankfully. I mean, there's a long way to go, definitely. But a lot of them are very comfortable and they're out. And so a lot of our conversations really have more to do with, school or, the normal feeling left out, not because of being LGBT, but because they're artsy or, they're maybe a little nerdy. I mean, the other ways that kids sometimes are bullied and picked on.
What's the demographic of students that you usually serve at the Gay Alliance Center?
Generally, they're all from the urban area. For the most part, we have a few from the suburbs. And the majority are either African American or Hispanic. We have a few that are Caucasian. It's really a mix. And generally, most are from the ages of 13 to, so far, I think the oldest student we've had there is 19. So.
Okay. All right. A lot of what we've talked about so far has focused on the LGBT students that you work with. But you as a person, what do you personally get out of working with these students and the things that you guys do on a daily basis?
For me, it makes me smile working with them. They're so much fun. They're so creative. They're just they're hilarious, a lot of these kids. Teenagers have such a funny sense of humor, and they haven't been weighted down by life yet. And so it's so much fun, and you feel refreshed after you're done hanging out with teenagers. You feel like the world isn't such a horrible place sometimes when you're hanging out with them. So I feel like I get, lifted up a lot by them, and I also learn a lot from them. Especially lingo, and sometimes I'm like, what? I don't know what that means. So there's a lot of times that, I'm learning a lot about youth culture through them. I really feel like I'm learning a lot more from them than they are from me.
What are some of the things that you try to teach your students or try to instill in them?
To have respect for others and to not judge others, just like they don't want to be judged. Yeah. That's our main focus. About our second week, and we talked about the values we wanted for the space. And by values, we didn't want to have something saying rules. I think values is a far better term. So our values were respect the space. Because the church is letting us use their space, keep it clean, no throwing food around, those just simple kind of things. And then our second major rule was called the platinum rule. Treat others the way they want to be treated. And then our third rule is respect yourself. I want all of the kids to know that they are special and that they have people there who care about them and are there for them.
That's great. I know we kind of, like I said before, we briefly touched on it. But how often do you guys all meet for meetings? Once
a week on Fridays from 7 to 9. We're hoping to we'll do some special things here and there. We have a Valentine's Day dance coming up in February, and that I believe is for all ages. And then there's the big gay prom in the springtime, so that, kids who maybe might not feel comfortable going to their prom with a same-sex date would feel more comfortable here at our big gay prom. So we have other things, and we also, if there's a movie that pertains to LGBT stuff and they want to meet and go to that, that's something we do. We're really flexible, and we want to try and expand beyond the Friday nights.
Okay. And briefly, as we wrap up, if students are interested in getting to know more about the Gay Alliance or coming out to some of the meetings, how can they get in contact with you?
Okay. They can call me at the Gay Alliance, or they can email me at the Gay Alliance. It's all the contact information is on our website, and then also on Facebook.
All right. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for being with us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
If you want to learn more about Talkback for Teens or join the conversation, visit us at www.talkbackforteens.com or like us on Facebook or tweet us on Twitter, hashtag TalkbackForTeens.
And also check us out on Instagram. Thank you.
Welcome back to Talkback for Teens. We're here with Dawn from the Rochester Gay Alliance. Thanks for being with us again, Dawn.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you were telling us a little bit about the Gay Alliance and some of your partners in the high schools. Can you tell us a little bit more about that partnership that you have?
Yeah, in many of the local high schools, there's these organizations called GSAs, which stands for the Gay Straight Alliance. Often they'll have a faculty advisor, and it's comprised of LGBTQ students along with their straight allies. And it's either used, to promote awareness, to work on, promoting anti-bullying, or sometimes, just to organize social events. So we try really hard to partner with them, do training for faculty advisors, and actually we're planning hopefully a weekend retreat soon for GSA advisors, so we can get them trained on some of the more recent things that have occurred.
Okay. Now, I'm not sure if you would know this, but how long has the Gay Alliance and the Gay Straight Alliance been partnering together, or how?
I imagine they've always been, partnering together. I know that the Gay Alliance, they're really, it's very important for them to partner with everybody in the community and not just other gay related organizations, but, healthcare and domestic violence and, those kind of things. It's very important to them.
Definitely. Can you tell us a little bit about the interactions of the students who come on Fridays, and how the interactions of the gay men differ from the interactions of the gay females, and how people, kind of treat them based on their gender and their sexual orientation?
For the most part, I've not noticed that there's a split between our gay students, lesbian, transgender. They all seem to mingle very well together. I have noticed, at least in studying gender and throughout, my studies at school, that often that gay men who are more feminine are treated worse because of the way society views womanhood and femininity, that women are low on the totem pole, and therefore being a woman is lower than being low. And therefore, not that lesbians are treated wonderfully either. I don't want to give that impression that, lesbians are treated far better. But a lot of homophobia is based on sexism. And there's also, there are some gay men who are more masculine, who sometimes look down on the more feminine gay men.
Do you think, have you found that with, gay, lesbian, bisexual being a lot more prevalent in the media today, that students are more comfortable with coming out?
I think so. They have a lot more positive role models out there, and they're more prevalent. You see more on TV. There's obviously could be more, but I think it makes it a lot easier, especially when a lot of their parents love Ellen DeGeneres. And, so for, having people like Ellen, is showing people that, gay and lesbian people are just like everybody else. And so I think it's getting their, the older generations thinking in a different way, and it's trickling down.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, with the groups that you deal with, the students that you deal with, how do their different cultural backgrounds how are they displayed throughout your weekly meetings?
We really don't discuss it much, but they definitely are very proud of their ethnic or racial, backgrounds. They often talk about some of their cultural traditions, and we've talked about having a night where everybody brings a food from either their ethnic background or just, from a culture that they enjoy. Like I enjoy, French culture, so I would bring croissants or whatever.
They're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's cool. Have you ever found that any of the students ever express any difficulties with being a racial or ethnic minority and also identifying as an LGBTQ student?
I have not had anyone say anything to me, but I can definitely, for every minority status that you have, it makes things harder for you. There's this concept in sociology called double jeopardy. And as you go, it's triple jeopardy, quadruple jeopardy. If you're a African American lesbian, that's triple because you're a female.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's definitely the more stigmatized identities you have, the harder it can be.
Well, I just think it's amazing that these students all feel, comfortable enough and they have a place to go to that's their own. Because like you said earlier, they have tons of other things that they're already dealing with. And it sounds like a place where they can come and relax and be amongst people who are clearly just like them. And at the end of the day, they're all realizing that they're like everyone else.
Yep, that's very important to us. I want them to know that they're special and that they're cared about.
Yeah. How do you really foster the community or the camaraderie between the students and, for them to come to a place where they feel so comfortable, where they maybe even feel like this is a second home for them?
Well, we just try to make it as cozy as possible. It's a new space, so it's still in transition. We're working on getting some couches, but we let them make a lot of decisions. Okay, what are you interested in?
Yeah.
We try to be a democracy as much as possible. There are occasions where an adult decision does have to be made.
Yeah.
But what do you guys want to do next week or a couple weeks from now? Do you want to learn how to do a poetry night, or they really have a lot of great ideas about what they want to do. So I think that helps them make it really feel like that's their space when they get to make a lot of the decisions.
Nice.
Awesome. So that's a perfect segue. So looking into the future, where do you want to see the Gay Alliance program go?
Well, at least on the youth end, we really want to get more out in the community. I really want to get them interested in community service and giving back to the community. Either through helping, we have a group called Rainbow Sage, which is LGBT seniors. Maybe doing something for them. That would be nice, because these are, people who blaze the trail for them. I also want to, do more education pieces with them. I know that's, where the Gay Alliance has been going, and also forming a leadership council of the youth who can go out into the community and who can talk to the community, because really they are the only ones who know what their experience is like. And I think that it's far better for them to go out and talk about their experiences than someone who's older and doesn't necessarily know what they've gone through.
Do you ever find that at these meetings that any of the students ever make romantic connections with other students?
Not that I've noticed, but I mean, I can imagine it's a lot like high school, and this is a place they can be free to hold hands and, a little kissing and stuff like that, just like everybody else gets to do at high school.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that occurs on occasion.
What about you said you serve a wide age range from 13 to 19. How are the interactions with just all these different age ranges?
Really hasn't been a problem. There's, it's a little bit, the older kids kind of hang out more, but they're not like scram you annoying little 13-year-olds. They've been really sweet and kind to the younger kids and really accepting and kind of showing them the ropes.
Yeah. So it sounds like through your meetings and talking amongst all of the students, they all get to share their own experiences and things of that nature. So do you feel like the older students take an active role in mentoring the younger ones, or that they all can basically find courage amongst all of the stories that they hear from their
I think
counterparts?
so. I think that, it's nice for them to hear all these different stories. And I do think the older students kind of play a role model role for the younger kids, especially the ones who there's a couple kids who've been coming for years. Wow. And so they've been there longer than I have. And so they're actually kind of a guide for me a little bit, as well as the younger kids.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
So to any student that may be out there who may not know how to take the first step in maybe either coming out or getting in contact with you all, what advice would you give to them if they're watching right now?
Well, you have to come out on your own schedule. Nobody should force you out of the closet. And if, talk to someone you trust, be it a school counselor or, someone at the Gay Alliance. We protect everybody's confidentiality. That is our number one concern. We want to make sure everybody is safe. And, sit there and, you really have to think about these things, because a lot of times they depend on their parents for food and shelter. And if they think, you know, that maybe a possibility of being put out on the streets is a possibility, then we would have to explore that. And there's going to be times that it might not be safe for them to come out right at the moment. Not that we want to keep anyone in the closet, but we also want people to be safe.
Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank you again
Yeah,
for
thank
talking
you.
to us.
Yes, it was very nice. Thank you.
And join us again with Talk Back for Teens. Once again, I'm Olivia Harrison.
And I am Bernard Rodgers.
Have a great night.
See you later.
Hi, and welcome to another fabulous session of Talk Back for Teens Youth News. I'm your host, Olivia Harrison.
And I am her co-host, Bernard Rodgers.
Today we have a few issues that are going on in the news to present to you all. One thing we found from the Huffington Post was that 2 were dead and 2 were injured after a shooting at Sparks Middle School in Nevada. Bernard, can you tell us a little bit more about this?
No problem. Basically, what happened in this situation is in Sparks, Nevada, there was a student who attended a middle school one day, and he brought a gun to school, and he opened fire on some of the students who were there. One of the teachers who work at the school stepped in bounds in order to get the gun away from the student. And there's a lot that still is not known about the case. One of the things that they do know is that up to 150, between 150 and 200 officers rushed to the scene as soon as they had got the call. But as I was saying, there is a lot that is still unknown. They still don't know what the motive was yet for the student committing the crime, why he brought the gun to school, and they still don't know if the kid who was killed, if he committed suicide or if it was from some of the gunshots that had taken place as they were trying to get the gun away from him. Hearing this story was kind of traumatic. After thinking about some of the other things that have taken place, like the Sandy Hook occurrence and how all of those students were shot as well in the same kind of connection. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, it seems like, you know, guns in school has really been a big issue, especially, like you said, after the Sandy Hook case. And I'm wondering, do you think that they will allow teachers to carry guns in schools? I mean, being a student myself, I feel like that would be very intimidating for students, especially going and knowing that your teacher could have a gun. But seeing this violence that keeps happening in schools, that it might be a necessary action that they need to take. But I mean,
I feel like maybe they should, I don't know, give the teachers some extra training. Just in case something like this ever is to occur in schools. I feel like it's an issue that we see that's fast growing. Like every time we turn around, there's another occurrence where students are getting a hold to guns, or other individuals are getting a hold to guns, and they're going into schools and they're committing these mass murders. And I think we need to begin to try to understand why this is happening and who are these individuals and how it could have been prevented, stuff of that nature.
I'd be interested in seeing, like, how often really does it happen? Because these big ones that we hear about in the news, like the Sandy Hook, which happened in Connecticut, or this one that happened in Nevada, are they usually happening in these suburbs or these Nevadas, or are they happening in urban areas? Are they getting the coverage as well? And, you know, how is it happening all over, not just in the Nevadas or the Connecticut's? And what are the teachers doing about it in those kind of urban, more city areas where they might not have the funding?
That would be something interesting to check out. I mean, it sounds like, and I don't want to say that these places are unheard of, but one of the things that I see is that it's happening in a lot of the small knit communities where this normally doesn't take place. So just quickly wrapping everything up, I feel like there's so many things that go into a situation like this that I understand why the police still don't know what has happened, or, you know, why this all occurred.
Yeah, well, hopefully they can get some clearance on it and find out what's going on there soon and provide some relief for these families.
Right.
Another article we found, also on the Huffington Post, was something a little different, a little lighter, was that according to the Huffington Post, online dating is most popular with men and women between the ages of 25 and 34. And this article really was just exploring all the areas of online dating, who are the different demographics it usually appeals to. And with the recent show Catfish, online dating is really popular with youth and teens. So we just wanted to kind of, you know, talk a little bit about that. What do you think about online dating, and do you really think it's that popular, mostly with people 25 to 34?
Well, I would believe that because that's the age group I feel that like technology sparked, and they were the transition between no technology and technology.
Yeah.
And I feel that we live in a day and age now where it's so much easier to text or to go through social media to connect with, each other rather than that face-to-face connection. So, like, I know even me personally myself, like, before, if I wanted to go to a party or something, I wouldn't call my mom and say, hey, can I go to a party? I would text her and say, hey, can I go here or can I go there? Because you don't want to run the risk of them saying no, and then you have to come up with a quick way. If you text it, then you're kind of safe. You're in the safe zone.
Yeah, so. I mean, it's all different ways of looking at it. This survey on Huffington Post also found that 38% of Americans who are single say that they've used an online dating website or an online dating, even mobile app. I didn't even know there were mobile apps for dating.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, it's pretty. I mean, that is a surprising, percentage, but it's, like I said, in the world where technology is becoming more and more relevant, it's understandable that more and more people are going to begin using technology in order to, find means of connecting.
Yeah, love, friendship. And there's so many different areas. Some people are finding now on Facebook, using Twitter, even Tumblr. I heard of a girl finding a romantic connection even through that, which is mostly just pictures, not even words about them. But a problem that arises with these kind of online romances is predators or people lying, saying or people trying to extort money from someone. That happens a lot, and it's not always publicized on TV or on the media, but a lot of people are even raped through these sites. Like they'll say, meet me in this alley or meet me such and such place and don't bring anyone else. And some of these, especially young people, are falling in love online, and then a lot of bad things happen to them.
And I feel like even though you don't see a lot of the extreme negative effects of that online social connections and finding people and meeting people, the show that you brought up, Catfish, does a good job of showing us some of the potential negatives of online dating. I mean, you have the full spectrum of things that happen on the show. Like sometimes people fall in love with somebody and it's the exact person who they thought they were, and everything is truth. Is the truth.
Yeah.
But then sometimes you also have these occurrences where the person that they met is somebody totally different than the person who they talked to. They may be different in gender. They may be different in, they don't look how they previously used to look.
That happens a lot.
So it does a good job of showcasing some of the negatives, but there are far more extreme things that could happen, like you brought up.
That's very true. Well, we would just advise everyone, if you're on an online relationship or dating online, just to be careful, just kind of guard some of your information. Don't put it all out there first off, because although the person you're talking to, they could very well be telling the honest to God truth. You just never know. So it's always good to kind of guard yourself a little bit and be careful.
Remember, don't give out too much of your information. If someone begins to ask you about where you live, what's your phone number, social security numbers, anything like that, just remember to always either try to meet people in person before you start to give out all of that information. And even if you don't know where to go, find somebody who can help you, whether it's your parents, whether it's a teacher, whether it's somebody you trust, it's a good friend who will give you good sound information. Make sure you seek out help. Thank you guys for checking out Talk Back for Teens Youth News, and we'll see you later.
Thanks again. Can I do it again?
Turn your smile into a frown, and you're far away, I'll meet you on holiday. And holiday